Welcome back to Technical SEO Bootcamp, led by OneUpWeb. I'm Stephanie Miller. I'm a senior SEO and content marketing project manager. You probably caught me during the first session. Today we're going to cover website errors that interfere with indexing and with a positive user experience. So while the subject matter today is definitely technical, I'm going to try to break it down and not get too into the weeds. We will break down every step to leave you with some actionable takeaways that you can use to improve your website. All right, so let's get right into it. Basically, there are many types of technical issues that can harm SEO health, but we are focusing on some key problems that basically all translate to some sort of a dead end, either for a search engine or for a user. So that includes broken links and 404s, redirect problems, canonical errors, and more. If you are planning to try out some of the tips that we talk about today in real time, by pausing the video here and there, you will need to use a spider tool such as Screaming Frog at minimum, and you may also want an SEO auditing tool. All right, let's dig in. Okay, we're starting with 404s and broken links, which you can find with the types of tools that I just mentioned and that are listed right here. You can crawl or audit your website with your chosen tool, and then you'll just be looking for 404 response codes on those URLs, as well as any other 400 or 500 type error. Today, though, we're just focusing on 404s, which are the most common client-side error that you'll find on your website. And this error just means the page cannot be found. So a search engine and a user can get no value from the experience. So we want to crawl our website, identify those errors, and then get them put into a spreadsheet so that we can decide how to fix them. There are three main methods for repairing these errors, and these are manually fixing them through your CMS, applying 301 redirects, or correcting your sitemap. So to find out which method that we are going to use, we have to first figure out the origin of the problem. If a 404 is being caused by a broken internal link, which typically it is, then you could choose method number one right here, which is actually going in and correcting that link on all the pages where it appears. So this is a very tedious job, obviously, and if you have hundreds of problems to fix, problems that are very important to fix quickly, then you may want to steer clear of doing this ultra manually and going to method 2 of applying 301 redirects instead. If it doesn't seem like the broken internal link is causing the 401 error that you are seeing, then it's probably being caused by an external source, such as just an external website that's linking to a non-existent page on your domain. Or it could be that your XML sitemap has an incorrect URL contained within it. So just check your sitemap first, check your XML sitemap and fix anything there. And then you can map out 301 redirects to correct the remaining broken links and 404s. That's it. And there's a lot more to it once you get down and start doing this work. And one major thing to note is that you don't actually have to fix every single 404. You'll actually find that they tend to just appear sometimes, and you should focus on just the important ones, the ones that get traffic or have backlinks and would cause a poor user experience if somebody arrived and saw that 404 error. Okay, let's get into the next bit, which is about fixing redirect chains and loops. All right, so redirect chains and loops are common problems that occur with 301 redirects. A redirect chain is when a 301 points from one page to another, to another, to another, to a final destination, with multiple steps in the middle. A redirect loop is when a 301 points from one page to another, to another, to another, and then back to the beginning URL. So we don't want long redirect chains and we don't want loops on our website because, one, they can slow down loading as each redirect has to take place. They may also diminish some of the link authority that's being passed. And finally, they may frustrate your audience with either slow loading or being redirected back to the page where they started, which may even be a 404 page. So you'll want a tool that easily identifies if you have any redirect chains or loops so that you can get those addressed. Luckily, once you have them nailed down and you know that they exist, they are fairly easy to fix, even though it is a little bit time consuming. You will want to keep a spreadsheet to keep track of the 301s that you're going to add, the 301s that you're going to delete, and have some sort of a color coding system so that you can keep track and then make your changes in bulk to get everything fixed at once. So here's how to fix a redirect loop. First is decide what the destination URL should really be. In this example, in the top right, we are going to choose page C as our destination page. So we want to remove any 301s that are redirecting C to somewhere else. So we see that C is being redirected to A, but we don't want that because it's our destination. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the 301 that points from C to A. And then finally, we are going to remap all the redirects in between to point to C, which is our final reliable destination. Remapping means deleting some of the existing redirects and then replacing them with new ones. So instead of redirecting from A to B, we are going to remove that A to B redirect and replace it with an A to C redirect. So I know that this is very confusing to talk about with words. It's a lot easier to visualize it, which is why these examples are shown here. So do take some time to kind of sit on this slide and wrap your head around it. Once you get started on fixing your redirect loops, it does make a lot more sense and it starts to go faster and faster as you resolve them. Okay, next here is how to fix a redirect chain. In this case, we already know what the destination URL is. It's page E. So when you click on page A, you have to go through multiple redirect steps. You have to go through B, C, D, and then E to get to that final destination. And we don't want that. So instead, we want A, B, C, and D individually to redirect to that destination. So you can see that before it was a long chain, and then after it's a series of concise, specific redirects that can happen very quickly. So you can apply your redirects in a number of ways, whatever works for your process. Often your CMS will have a tool for uploading redirects in bulk, which can be fairly simple, just a spreadsheet with an A and a B column. But the other methods are listed here, and just let us know if you have any questions and we'll make sure that you get an answer. It wouldn't be a boot camp if we weren't sweating with the details, right? We have 3 major topics to cover now, just 3 left. Let's move on to crawl errors. So here we have some examples of common crawl errors that can occur. You will notice these errors probably in Google Search Console typically, or if you're running a technical site audit with another tool, these will show up. And the common denominator with all of these crawl errors is that they're going to hurt your SEO performance. They're going to prevent your content from getting the visibility that you want it to have. If you notice any DNS resolution issues, that is a registrar thing. You're going to want to contact your registrar and get that worked out. For server errors, that is a hosting thing, so contact your hosting provider. And then for everything else that's shown here, these are things that you can actually fix yourself. So if you're seeing a URL with crawl issues and you notice that it has capital letters in that URL or underscores or other weird syntax, that could definitely be the root of the issue. So you want to edit that URL and then apply a 301 redirect from the old ugly syntax version to the new clean version. All right, and then next we have a couple of issues that are easy to fix, but sometimes hard to identify or notice, especially when you're in a situation when your traffic is down and you're panicking because you don't know why. So do be aware of these two guys on the right here. Sometimes you have a rogue no index tag on a page that shouldn't have one. So check the source code, look for that no index meta tag that's causing the problem. Sometimes also you might have a line in your robots text file that is disallowing search engines from crawling a specific page or a specific section of your website. And usually these lines are added to your robots text just as a temporary precaution while you're doing website maintenance, and then somebody forgets to remove them. So this is a classic problem. Do check your robots text file if you're noticing that some of your pages aren't being crawled, and that could be the culprit. Both problems on the right that we just spoke about are super easy to fix. All you need to do is just remove the string or turn off the setting, and then you're all set. Okay, moving on to other types of dead ends, canonical link errors. So canonical links are otherwise known as canonical meta tags. These are those little attributes on a page that point somewhere and say to the search engine, hey, this is the true original version of the content, even though you might notice a few different versions of it. Okay, so canonical tags are extremely important for preventing duplicate content issues and other problems with your SEO, especially in e-commerce situations, but they are also pretty easy to mess up. Especially if you're trying to automate them and it just doesn't work out how it should. So here are a few best practices to look for. First of all, you don't want to have multiple canonical links on a single page. You want to stick with the one that is the most valuable and the one that is the true original version of that content. Next, you want to make sure that the canonical link that you use is a real, true link that works and is not broken. Next, if you use AMP, otherwise known as accelerated mobile pages, there's a very specific way to apply your canonicals correctly. So you want to make sure that you follow those practices so that you don't end up with AMP errors as well. And then finally, avoid canonicalizing all the pages of an archive to page 1. So think about a blog archive, for example, with 10 pages of blogs that you can choose from. And you want search engines to be able to crawl all 10 of those pages so that every post is visible and indexed in search engines. You don't just want that first page to be the one that's getting all the attention. So the way to resolve a problem like this is one of two methods. The first is to use self-referential canonicals on each page of the archive, Or you can point every single page to a view all posts page, which is just a single page that has links to every post in existence on your website. And this page is dynamically updated each time you post something new. That new blog or that new resource is added to your view all posts page. And this is just a very simple way to control crawl budget. And it's also one of web's preferred way to paginate archives. Okay, the last hurdle in this SEO obstacle course is looking at orphan pages. So let's do it. All right, so we want to give orphaned pages a home. These are the pages that are floating out in space. They have no other pages linking to them, and therefore search engines and users cannot access these pages. So in order to give these orphans some love and make sure that they are carrying the value that they should and being seen by people, we have to discover them and then add links to make them discoverable. So first, we are going to just grab all the URLs from our website using the XML sitemap ideally. But if you don't have an accurate or an up-to-date XML sitemap, you can use log files if you need to get a list of all the URLs on your entire website. Step 2 is to crawl your website to get a list of all the indexable or discoverable URLs. And then finally, you want to use some fancy conditional formatting in your spreadsheet to compare these two lists and see which URLs exist on your website but actually aren't discoverable by search engines. And those are your little orphan pages. So once you've found out which pages are orphans, you want to incorporate some internal links on your website that point to those orphans so that search engines and users can properly find them. And then you will have done your good deed for the day and helped a little orphan. Okay, well, that's the end of this bootcamp session. So take a breather, drink your water, and there is more coming soon. I hope you enjoyed the session, and you can feel free to respond to any of the bootcamp emails to ask us questions. We will see you next time to talk about backlinks.